Hello everyone, welcome to this new video of concepts in medicine. So I hope all of you are doing fine. So today we are going to study about hyponatremia. Whenever a patient comes to you in OPD or emergency with hyponatremia, how do we evaluate that patient? So first of all, the definition of hyponatremia is serum sodium less than 135 milliequivalents per liter. This is the definition of hyponatremia. Now hyponatremia can be mild, moderate, or it can be severe. Mild hyponatremia is serum sodium levels between 130 to 135. Moderate is 120 to 130, and severe is less than 120 milliequivalents per liter. Okay, and hyponatremia can also be acute or chronic. Acute hyponatremia is the one which develops over 48 hours of time period, that is develops within the 48 hours time frame. Chronic is the one which takes more than 48 hours to develop or duration is unknown. Suppose a patient with altered sensorium presents to you in emergency, you get his serum sodium levels done which are 118 milliequivalents per liter. Now you do not know that what were his serum sodium levels 48 hours prior to the presentation, so that patient will fall into the category of a chronic hyponatremia. So either more than 48 hours or duration unknown. Now whenever we evaluate hyponatremia, we have to first of all look at serum osmolarity. We have to look at serum osmolarity. Now serum osmolarity can either be normal, that is isotonic, or it can be raised, that is hypertonic, or it can be low, that is hypertonic. Okay, so these two, that is isotonic and hypertonic, these two are pseudo hyponatremia. They are not true hyponatremia, these are false hyponatremia or pseudo hyponatremia. Only the hypotonic hyponatremia is the true hyponatremia. Hypotonic hyponatremia is the true hyponatremia. So if we see for the examples, the example of an isotonic hyponatremia will be hyperlipidemia. Excessive lipid levels in the body lead to low sodium levels, which are false pseudo hyponatremia. Or hyperproteinemia, like the first thing which should come in your mind by the name of hyperproteinemia is plasma cell dyscrasias like multiple myeloma. So a patient of multiple myeloma presenting to you with hyponatremia, you should always suspect isotonic hyponatremia. Okay, examples of hypertonic hyponatremia, that is the serum osmolarity is high. The examples here are use of mannitol, that can lead to increased serum osmolarity, or hyperglycemia, uncontrolled blood glucose levels. Okay, as we all know, serum osmolarity depends on blood glucose levels, because the formula for serum osmolarity is serum sodium plus BUN upon 2.8 plus blood glucose upon 18. So serum osmolarity depends on sodium as well as glucose as well as blood urea nitrogen levels in the body. Okay, now coming to true hyponatremia. See, once we have established that the patient has true hyponatremia, once we have established that the patient has true hyponatremia, that is hypotonic hyponatremia. Always remember, true hyponatremia is hypotonic hyponatremia. Now to find out the cause or etiology of a true hyponatremia, we should always look at the volume status of the patient. We should look at the volume status of the patient. If patient is in fluid overload, that is hypervolumic, that can also present as hyponatremia due to fluid overload, dilutional hyponatremia. Examples here will be chronic kidney disease, congestive heart failure, and chronic liver disease. Okay, patient can be euvolumic as well. Euvolumic patients, euvolumic hyponatremia. Now in cases of euvolumic, that is, you saw the patient, you assess that volume status is fine, neither patient is dehydrated nor is in fluid overload, then you go for urine sodium levels. If urine sodium levels are less than 20 milliequivalents per liter, then the cause is primary polydipsia, that is excess water intake, primary polydipsia, or beer potomania, that is excess beer intake. If urine sodium levels are more than 40, or for that matter more than 20 milliequivalents per liter, then the causes are hypocortisolism, hypothyroidism, and SIADH. So always remember, SIADH is a euvolumic hypotonic hyponatremia. Euvolumic hypotonic hyponatremia. Okay, SIADH is a euvolumic hypotonic hyponatremia. Third category is hypovolumic, that is patient is dehydrated. Now that means patient is having excessive loss of sodium and water. Now the excess loss can be via the renal causes, renal route, or it can be via extra renal route. So there can be a renal cause of hypovolumic hyponatremia, or it can be an extra renal cause. So renal cause, it can be use of thiazide diuretics, it can be salt losing nephropathies, like Bartter and Gitelman. Now what happens in Bartter and Gitelman? So this is the nephron, this is the ascending loop, this is the this is the PCT, and then the descending loop, and then the ascending loop, and the distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting duct and collecting tubule. So there are two channels. One channel is located here. This channel is named as sodium potassium 2 chloride, and another channel is in DCT, which is sodium chloride co-transport. The function of both of these channels is to take sodium in from the urine, that is to reabsorb the sodium that has been lost in the urine. So a defect in sodium potassium 2 chloride channel leads to Bartter syndrome, and a defect in sodium chloride co-transport channel leads to Gitelman syndrome, ultimately leading to loss of sodium in the urine and patient presenting as hyponatremia. Okay, so this is the concept of salt losing nephropathies. Now coming back to our hypovolumic hyponatremia, so the renal causes can be thiazide diuretics, salt losing nephropathies. Okay, now what can be the causes of extra renal loss of hypovolumic hyponatremia? That is, the loss of the sodium is from somewhere else apart from the kidneys, like diarrhea, vomiting, pancreatitis, burns. Okay, so if you are not sure whether it's a renal cause or extra renal cause, you can also go for urine sodium levels. Urine sodium levels will always be more than 20 milliequivalents per liter in case of a renal loss, and they will always be less than 20 milliequivalents per liter in case of a extra renal loss. Okay, now coming on to SIADH, let's study some important concepts of SIADH. SIADH is syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. Syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion. So it is always, as we studied, it is a euvolumic hypotonic hyponatremia. Since it's a hypo, it is a true hyponatremia, and this is always a diagnosis of exclusion. Once you have excluded, ruled out all other causes, then only you will make a diagnosis of SIADH. To support your diagnosis, you can look for urine sodium levels. They will be more than 40 milliequivalents per liter in such patients. urine osmolarity will be more than 100 milliosmoles. And in serum, all of the uric acid, serum urea and serum BUN, all three will be decreased. They all will be decreased. Okay. Now which drugs cause SIADH? Drugs causing SIADH. These drugs are Coca V, cyclophosphamide, oxytocin, chlorpropamide, which is a first generation OHA, not used nowadays. Amitriptyline, commonly used in headaches and migraines, known as Streptomer, and Vincristine. So that's all for in today's video. I hope the concept of hyponatremia is now clear to all of you. Thank you.